I'm just excited to be in Toronto, where we're now in the finals against Golden State. So, woo! And what a time last week at Collision as well. I mean, that was phenomenal. That just shows you where Toronto is on the map, especially when it comes to technology and innovation. We're the fourth largest market in North America, and that shows that people are committed with Collision coming here for the next 2 years. So in the interest of time, because I know I got to be short and sweet, I thought I'll get started. So my name is Mandeep Dhother. I joined BMO about a year ago, my first gig into the financial services industry. And one of the things I noticed pretty quickly was there's a lot of talk about innovation in all areas. And so we're here to talk about payments, but what I wanted to kind of start with was, why is this happening? And I think it's just because customer needs and wants, they're evolving at a very rapid pace. So expectations are advancing, technology is accelerating, and I think that's one of the key enablers. So we're starting to see this thing globally, and it's not just our industry, it's across sectors, across regions. And I think where this kind of comes from is we're seeing organizations solve problems that we didn't even know we had. Like, did we know we needed a Uber Eats because we can't go and get food fast enough? And in other cases, you're seeing old problems being solved with newer solutions. So this is really what's propelling all of this innovation in this space. And as you kind of see this play out, like for instance, P2P, peer-to-peer payments in Asia is skyrocketing. And then, that same thing is done a little bit differently when it comes to continents or areas such as Brazil and Africa. And then even just recently seeing how e-transfers has accelerated. It shows what behaviors are like when it comes to sending or requesting money. And I remember I still hear people coming and saying, wow, I didn't have to give an answer and a question in a text to somebody. It kind of just magically deposited. So it tells you how people want to see payments kind of growing. So I wanted to set the tone with that, is that we need to think different. Right? And that's the mindset that we need to be able to have in order to solve these problems as they scale, and also think about how are we going to respond when there's 5 generations of the workforce in Canada. How do you basically create solutions that scale across different demographics and behaviors? So when it comes to innovation and payments, there's a couple of areas that we've been doing this in, and I'll talk about 2 of them. The first one is what we call the BMO Payment Hub. So the BMO Payment Hub is an enterprise-wide initiative, and it was something that was delivered on just recently. And the great thing about this was they were able to integrate a number of different core payment systems in the back end, modernize their infrastructure and their stack, and then also start supporting real-time payments like Zelle in the US. Right? And then this will itself become an enabler for us to be able to plug and play different payment solutions or capabilities as they arise, get faster to market. And the great thing about this initiative was we also did this within less than a year. And as a result, we also managed to pick up a Celent Model Bank Award in New York recently. And this is all important because by driving these core capabilities, then we can respond. Like for instance, when rewards or loyalty or things that are important to people, how do you respond? Like look at Apple Pay Cash Apple Card that's going to be launching, and then they're going to be giving you daily cash rewards, right? It's telling you where the market's potentially going, and consumer behavior and expectations are continuing to outpace how quickly we can get something into the market. So these are all things that we think about. So this is really the play from an enterprise perspective to build in the core plumbing so we can respond, and it will spawn different monetization models when it comes to real-time payments. On the retail side, what I wanted to introduce to you guys was what we're calling BMO Quick Pay. So this is launching later this year, and this is to solve how you pay a bill. Now, how you pay a bill has apparently been, a similar process for about a century. So previously, you used to have a bill, you went to a branch, and when you went to the branch, you saw somebody who works there, and you processed that payment for the bill. Then slowly we evolved that with the advent of the internet and the web, and you took that process and now you made it digital. And then again, as the mobile era came, you put that onto the phone in your pocket, and you made those payments. So our teams, because we have a number of different innovation initiatives that run internally at the core, they took a look at this and said, what if we could solve this problem a different way? So we've got a solution for the web, we've got a solution for mobile in terms of how you pay your bills, but what if there's a third option? And that's where this kind of came about. So the idea here is simple. You get a bill, and then what we've seen from statistics is 87% of our customers made one late bill in a year, okay? And 91% of them did not want to enroll into auto payments. It was just, a number of reasons for that. Some people just have habits or desires where they want to be able to see the bill and pay when they feel like paying it, and it's just more of like a mental block. So with this, what happens is you get your bill, you forward it to an email address, and that email address will receive it, do a bunch of machine learning and AI algorithm stuff, and then send you back a simple SMS message that says, hey, is this the amount and the payee that you want to pay? And you can say yes, or pay as it says on the screen, or no if you don't. And that's it. So with this experience, you basically don't even have to log into the BMO mobile app, log into online banking. You literally pay it through text. So it just opens up another avenue, another option of how you pay your bill. So that's what we kind of did on the retail side. And that was all sparked by a program that we call Innovate. So Innovate is a program that we kind of launched over the last year or so. And this is, again, our focus and commitment to innovation across our different teams. So the area of the bank that I sit in is digital at BMO, and we focus on the retail consumer experience. And one of the things that we knew our agile teams wanted, or developers wanted, or product owners wanted, was a way to really embed innovation into the core, how they work and where they work. So with this, we're able to let them quickly test ideas, learn from them, move on to prototyping, and then to proof of concepts if they want to further flush things out. And we've seen a lot of success with this program. There's been a number of different things that are going to be coming to commercialization. One of them is Quick Pay. You'll hear about other ones. But again, it kind of shows how we're able to drive these things much quicker than we did before, and then again, coming to the market. So when you think about evolving customer demand, where the markets are going, and the changing landscape and innovation, open banking is obviously one of those things that comes to mind. Now, first thing I have to say about open banking, very bad branding. Like, not being in the financial sector or banking industry, I would have no idea what this meant. I still have people who assume this means banks are open longer hours. Not the case. But the way I look at this is, let's see how the current engagement was supposed to work and then where we're evolving to. So the first idea is closed banking. What that really means is a relationship between two parties, the customer and the bank. You sign in, you have agreements, you transact, the bank provides some services, and that's a relationship between two known entities. Open banking basically said, we'll let a third one enter, right? So a third party. And in this case, what might happen is you're still banking with your bank, but maybe there's a third party that provides a different service. You may consent and enroll and authorize sharing of certain data. Again, assuming all of the underpinning regulations, compliance, security, everything's in place. But really it opens up an avenue for further innovation here. And that's what I'm kind of excited about. So I've seen some people coin this as, banks, fintech, startups, and the customer kind of being able to co-create in this ecosystem and come up with new products and services. So again, really cool idea. I like what it's underpinning, but bad branding. Now, this is not something necessarily new because it's been rolled out to regions like UK, Australia, Europe, and there's a couple of different ways you can approach it. In some cases, you only have read access, so you're only sharing read capabilities. In other instances, you may allow write privileges. So maybe you allow a third-party provider to initiate a payment process. And then the third one, maybe you offer product portability. Think of it like number portability when it comes to telcos. So there's a couple of different flavors of what you can do with it. And we'll have to see how this kind of plays out in Canada, but there's a lot of interest by a number of different people that I've spoken to in the industry over the last year. Now from there's a number of different outcomes that can come. So the first one is what I say, be integrated. So in this one, an example would be like if you're Uber and then you're able to share access to how you call an Uber or book an Uber through, let's say, Google Maps. So then you're extending your experience to being outside third-party offerings or integrate others. So for instance, at BMO, maybe we'll have a credit score capability that we integrate from a third party into our platform. Or in the final one, you have full stack ownership. So this is where you build APIs in a smart way, where you make them ready for open, but you're the primary consumer, kind of maybe like a internal developer portal. So open banking is really cool, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for new ideas, especially in the payment space when it comes here as well. It just gives us that ability to further ramp up. And that's important because no big org or small org can solve these problems alone. This is how the world works now. We're all interconnected. We're across geographies. We have different experiences that we tie in. The only way you're going to be able to scale and solve evolving needs is if you do the ecosystem play. And that's really what we're seeing kind of transpire lately. And as we evolve with open banking, as we have more entrants into the space, we'll see where this takes us. And again, the customers are helping define the path of where we want to be. So that's really what I wanted to share with you guys today in my short stint. Is it questions time? Okay. Open for questions.
Hey, I just had a quick question regarding the Quick Pay system.
Yep.
So it's awesome. You can pay your bills through text. It's a lot easier. It'll probably send you reminders before it's due. But I get a lot of spam text messages that I'm not really sure who they're from. And now if I don't need to log into a bank app to verify my identity, how can I be sure that this text that I'm getting from this number is actually BMO? Like what if someone else just, automates a text, says the exact same thing that BMO says, and then gets like $93 out of my bank account?
Right. And fair question. I can't fully answer that just because there are some capabilities that we've got in how all of that stuff works, and it's patent pending right now. So I can't go too far, but some of those things are things that we've considered in terms of how is security going to work, how is spam going to work, what happens if somebody intercepts your SMS, those type of things. So what I would say is we've kind of thought through those. There is a patent around that whole application of how the AI and the machine learning works, and we are going to be testing and learning as we evolve, right? So we'll go through a pilot stage, alpha, beta stage, those type of things. Hi.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1.
Hello. Okay, here we are. So not wearing your BMO hat, where would you like to see open banking go?
Personal side?
Yeah.
So the way I look at this, and this is kind of how I see things, is open banking is important to the financial sector, right? But if I look at it as a customer lens, there's things like open health that's going to be important. There's things like open energy that are kicking off. And I think this just really goes to see where does the customer want to go? What are the experiences that they're looking to kind of integrate? And how do we basically stitch that all together? So open banking, I think, here is great. What I'd be interested to know is how do our different lives intersect? So one of the things I saw at Collision last week was they were talking about financial health. And so sure, we could do a bunch of advancements in the financial industry to kind of show spending habits, financial issues, or doing some sort of predictions. But then there's also a tight correlation to mental health. How does that align? How does it align to just your health in general? So I'd like to actually see how this advances at a higher level with the customer across industries, and how does that intersection play?
Hi there, my name is Guru. This goes back to the question that was earlier asked about Quick Pay. I don't know if you can answer that based on the answer given earlier, but I'll give it a shot.
Sure.
Is there any human element in terms of the response that's coming back with an SMS? And would there be any third party that would be involved in monitoring these transactions in terms of spend habits, etc.?
So for the purpose of now, no, there's no human element per se. There is training going on to train the algos and all that kind of stuff. There's no third party involved. So it's basically within BMO. We'll see how that evolves. So right now, like this is one of those things that's literally being pre-announced. And they're going through test and learn experiences. They're seeing what customer response might look like. And then we'll shape and tweak the experience.
Hi. Is this only for the Quick Pay? Is it only for bills which come to your email? Like, what about the paper bills? Is there like some sort of integration for those?
So the purpose of this is only ones that are emailed to you. Other ones, we still have, we have a very aggressive just bill payment team that comes up with a whole smorgasbord of ideas. Right, so this is the first one of many that's kind of actually making it through our program. So it went from simple idea, brainstorming, wireframe it, goes into like a POC mode, proof of concept, and it had enough stickiness and juice behind it to say, let's bring this to market. And then we happen to pick up a couple of patents with it too. So it's exciting, but I think there's still more to be done in this space. Right, again, for customers, it's solving. It may be the same problem, but in many different ways. So giving them options. I was surprised when I first saw this when I kind of joined and I said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. So it doesn't touch your mobile app, doesn't touch your online banking. Kind of cool.
The commercial banking side or the retail banking side?
Yeah, I think it has opportunities everywhere. I'm biased into retail just because that's more of where I have my experience. I think it has the opportunities everywhere. Again, I think we have to be very careful as to how we talk about this. Like, the main issue I personally still have is many times when I've been to a number of different open banking sessions and workshops, there's adequate representations from banks, adequate representation from fintechs in the startup ecosystem. I don't see a strong representation for customers. I see surveys that, organizations have put out to customers on their views around that, but the answers, I don't know how real they are because have we explained what open banking is, right? What does that really mean? Is it really consent stuff? I think we have to get more succinct and clear with the messaging.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great.